Oh, there you go. Okay. We're late, man. The time vortex is causing us, well, it's not only that, right? So first the key stuck in the door of the tavern and we had to batter down the door. Then the fireplace wouldn't draw. We couldn't get the fire started. Then we were rolling up a keg of beer from the basement and then it broke and beer all over the floor. And then the time vortex. So we're here. It's Friday. Thank goodness. Are you there, Ryan? Ryan's here someplace.
Can you guys hear me? Check, check, check.
Can you hear Ryan?
All right.
Okay.
Hello.
There he is. So Ryan's there. He's not behind the bar. He is helping on the other side of the time vortex. So he's way away from here. I only can just, like have an echo through time. So there's Ryan back there someplace. Today we're going to have to go fast. So thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm your host, John Townsend. We're going to be talking about 18th century stuff. Ryan is on the other side of the time vortex.
Hello.
And we have a special person on the console, William, training. So, so you can hassle William if you...
Well, William's not going to switch to the time vortex cam. Don't worry about seeing us. You just get to see John.
Yeah. It's just about me today. It's just about me and cool pictures. Do we need to talk about any super chats?
I want to get the super chat before it disappears.
Yes.
It's from Lawless. Enjoying the signet ring my son got me for Christmas. A wonderful piece and a great conversation starter. Thanks for all you do at Townsends.
Great. Thank you for your amazing support through our website.
And I think that catches us up for now on Super Chats. I'll probably let them stack up a little bit so we can get through some of the topic today since we're starting late. Yeah,
we're starting late. We're going to jump right in. And this one, kind of related to the holiday that's coming up here later on, like Monday. So
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we got a little bit of that coming up at the very end of this, but we got to get through the sort of, this is all about handwriting and letters and what they look like and the kind of handwriting. And so we're going to have lots of fun talking about handwriting. And there's a lot of slides here. Lauren found too many things she just couldn't. It's like, no, this one's got to be in it. And so we got lots of content. So some of it I probably won't have a ton to talk about, just a couple little remarks, and then we'll move on, or else we will never get through this.
Real quick, before we get going, I know that you wanted to take a moment to thank everybody for all their well wishes.
A special thank you to all the well wishes, the condolences on the passing of my father. We had the memorial sort of live stream last week. Is our best sort of ever watched live stream. So thank you for your support in that. For what we, he's a big part of the reason why we do what we do. Starting the business and the encouragement. He hasn't been really involved in the business since we started the live stream. But of course, he watched them, and my mother's probably watching even right now. So really super duper thank you about all that. So wow. That was a fun live stream with my sister, and we looked through pictures and kind of history of the business, so we had a lot of fun with that. So thank you for reminding me on that, Ryan. All this sort of last minute help, the live stream is exploding, has distracted me. Let's jump into the slides. What do you think, William? There you go. Slide number 1. And we kind of, this isn't so much a time, study, but sort of different kinds of things going on. And the neat part about this is kids were handwriting. So we have this piece of artwork of children and handwriting. We see their inkwell, their writing tools. One of them's even looking at us and writing. This really interesting piece of artwork is Italian from about 1720. But whether it's Italian, French, or even English, it's going to be a very similar situation, and so there's a perfect, great piece of art here. And then this letter over here is written, it's not English, but it's written by a child to their father, and we get to see sort of what child's handwriting was like here in, I'm not sure about the timing of this. Oh, the letter's from somewhere between 1780, 1790. So, and right about, kind of Christmas Day. So it's a letter to his father stating that the son had received a tube with pencils for St. Nicholas Day from his grandmother. So very, very neat. We don't get to, identify children's writing very often and see a historical piece. Love it.
Looks a lot like it does today.
Well, hey,
Actually, it's probably
I
nicer
wish.
than-
Do you think any kid today could write with a quill pen that well?
Probably not. I know I can't.
Yeah, exactly. Good job. Now this is just a bunch of different letters, so we can kind of get a group idea of what writing was like. And we have, well, actually these are all from the same kind of work of art. This is, I'm sorry, there was another one that's like that. This one is a handwritten book of poems, and the poems are from about 1743 to 45. And as you see the little images that are drawn up there in the top, there's a sword. Yes, it's a book of poems about a particular sword that was used to behead somebody. Perfect sort of source material, right?
Yeah, oh sure, why
Did
not?
you think? It's like, that's what I'm going to write a whole book of poetry about, a particular sword.
Ode to my beheading sword.
Yes, that's what I always keep around. I don't think we do. We just don't have the same kind of world today that they had in that time.
Do you think he called it Old Whopper?
Let me see if there's a name for it. I think
I bet there is.
The sword was owned by Franz Greenwood, and it's, I don't know what the name of the sword was. Maybe Lauren remembers the name of the sword. She didn't write it down here, so I don't know what the name of the sword was. Sharpie, probably, we'll call him, or Pokey or something like that. Next, here we go. Diderot's Encyclopedia has a section on handwriting and how to cut quills. So it's not just super easy to cut a quill. Let me tell you, it's not easy to cut a quill. Those are the steps. So first you slice it one way, then you slice it back the other direction, then you split it, then you cut, a deeper groove this way and that way and that way. It's like a complex system to get your quill pen to be just right. So you can see the steps on the one side. We see someone writing on the other side, how to hold it with your hand, which is a whole different art of, it's like, okay, how my finger's gonna do this? And then the different kinds of sharp knife, and boy, do you need a sharp knife to cut quills properly. Now, this is again Diderot's Encyclopedia, like the next page. We get to see a little bit more of the equipment, another person writing at a table. Notice the room that he's in. He's got his writing table right up next to the window so that wonderful window light can come in. We don't think about where we place our tables too much. Today, we have all this artificial lighting. That's not happening as much in the 18th century. It's not as nice. And so if you're going to have a nice big window, boy, are you going to put your writing desk right next to it. You see these quill pens, and then the start on this other side of how you have to hold or move the angle of the pen so that it's really tricky with these quill pens, because as you make letters you have to have some bit of upstroke, and when you have upstroke in the letter that you're creating, it can cause the pen to jitter. It's so much more difficult writing with these than it would be with later writing materials, and we are just massively spoiled with ballpoints and roller ball pens and everything else. Is just sick. These two images here are images from ship's logs. So sometimes logs, we have multiple kinds of logs for ships, and sometimes they're just sort of a summary of what's going on, and other times we have tables. So the ship was running at this many knots, and the wind was from this direction, and so you would use those for navigation. But these are just, whoa, what's going on? So the one on the left is what went on today. People are working, doing this kind of thing, doing that kind of thing. The one on the on the right-hand side has some math things going on with it. So it has a little bit more about navigation. But that's sort of a typical handwriting when you know nobody else is going to be reading it. You're just writing it out for yourself. But it still has to be good enough that if someone questions you about what happened with your ship, say like it sank or something bad happened, and you need to go back and refresh your memory, you have to be able to go back to these logs, read them, understand them. So they have to be nice enough for you to understand it.
John, did you happen to bring up a copy of the period penmanship book we carry?
I don't. I do not.
I'm going to drop a link in the
Yes.
in the chat because that's a really neat book. I think
Right.
you guys will enjoy it.
Right. Good call on that one. Here we have a woman of the house who is working on the household accounts. So we see her working at the table, and the things that are spread around here are the kinds of things that your household accounts would be. You'd say, oh, I still have so many bottles of wine. I have, XYZ in stock. It's important today. I don't think we think too much about it. I don't even think people, balance their checkbooks anymore, right? It's like checkbook, whatever. I just
What's
use
a checkbook?
Yeah, exactly. But in this time period, take that checkbook and it's accounting to the extreme. You would keep track of everything in the house. You would know, all the things you had. We just buy stuff and put it in the pantry, right? Or it's in the refrigerator. We don't even think about it. But this is an important part of handwriting. So women in the 18th century, some of them are going to be handwriting. And so someone gave me something cool. You want to pop out for a second? There you go. Some elf came up and delivered the young clerk's assistant, or penmanship made easy, instructive, and entertaining, being a complete pocket copybook, curiously engraved, which is not easy to do in the 18th century, for the practice of youth in the art of writing. And so this book is full of sort of, today when we're working in a computer and we want to, pick out a font or a typeface on a particular document. Well, this is what different sort of handwriting types would be like and practices to make them. So it's like, well, they even have names for them. Not easy to read, but there's, so you could practice doing really beautiful handwriting. So you would have, sometimes somebody would write something out really quick, and then you would have somebody else write it out fair. So a fair writer would be somebody who copied that back out for you, and they would use this book to practice with. Okay, then we can go back to the live stream.
Actually, let me do a couple of questions real quick, so we don't get too out of hand.
Yes.
Number one, this was from the chat. Did people who could write sell their services to those who could not? You touched on that briefly.
Yeah, if your handwriting was good enough, you could maybe get a job at fair writing things out for people. And lawyers might use that. Other business people would use those. Instead of 100 years later, you would hire a typist. You would take dictation and then you would type that out. And I made a mistake. Start all over again. Same thing with handwriting, but talk about writer's cramp. So there is that, and there are times also, not in a very formal way, but in an informal way, if you were a person who couldn't read or write, you would have a friend, or hopefully a friend, that would write things out for you if you needed to write a letter for you, or to someone else. You couldn't do it.
Stephen Woolley is in Super Chat contribution to help keep the vortex up.
Oh, yeah.
We need help.
It needs help today.
Yeah. Master Cool in Super Chat, very happy Friday to all.
Thank you.
I don't know with this one. I don't know. I'm not going to try to read that. Yeah, something 85. John, what is your favorite use of nutmeg as a spice or garnish? The answer is clearly the painkiller. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I use it on everything, from scrambled eggs to my tea. So there you go.
Steve Reeves sends a super chat, just says, appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mom.
Diane Norcus, was being a lefty a problem using a quill pen?
Massively, yes. a lot. The slower that ink dries, the more you're dragging your hand through it. So you have to, manipulate the paper right upside down, backwards, whatever. So yeah, it's very, very not fun as a lefty.
Ashley LeCounts in Super Chat. Happy Friday. The historical writing series with Brian Allison is one of my favorite series that you guys have done. I have watched it several times.
Yeah, Brian Allison did an amazing job. And he was so ill. We were doing that. He looked like a vampire because, well, he was just pale as pale. But he did a tremendous job. He soldiered through those things and just a great person about handwriting and all the tools. And so make sure to check out that whole series.
Mr. Matrix S did people use a slide rule to keep the writing straight?
I think we'll find later on as we go through that some papers are ruled. You might rule them with pencil and then erase the pencil after you've written over it with ink. And sometimes we just have ruled paper. We'll see some examples as we go.
Well, there's the answer for the next one. It is Speed and Style. Tony asked when lined paper came in.
Yeah, people are hand lining paper for the most part, although at times stationers might offer something like Fool's Cap that already has lines in it.
MD Smith 702 says Happy Friday. Keltoid 5 says cheers.
Yes.
And thank you. Keltoid 5, I did not appreciate your comment about how warm and sunny it is there earlier.
Ryan was really complaining.
I was kind of grumpy.
Hey, it's not that bad here today. It's raining and 35, 38.
Yeah, nice warm day. All right, we're done. You can go back to looking at neat examples.
Back we go. Let me find this. I'm not sure where we're at here. This one is this example of something that's very fair written out. So the first three panels here. This is a list of subscribers for a series of plates of the funeral of Princess Maria Louise in 1765. So this is sort of like, somebody donated basically to this thing. We want to be, we want to write things out. Sort of like we would write out maybe, a marriage certificate or, a diploma. We want it to be fancy. Of course, today we just use a printer and, but this, someone's hand calligraphizing, if that's a word. I'll use it today. And then this last panel here is it's a journal of the House of Representatives in 1773. So that's someone in doing sort of minutes to a meeting, and the writing is nice, but obviously it's quick written out, and they didn't bother to fair write this out because it's not super official document. That was this last panel's by Samuel Adams, sorry. And this is Dan Cunningham. The subject on this image here is 1766. And we get to see sort of, in the painting, somebody who's obviously well-to-do. He's got a very fancy, expensive hand-embroidered or silk waistcoat, and he's got lace on his cuffs. So a rich gentleman, and there he is writing with his quill pen. He's holding a letter, and then on this side here is a letter that is addressed to Philip John Schuyler, and that's about 1764. And I think the implication here, the reason why these two are together is because that letter is from this gentleman. I think I got that right. So we get to see, sort of like what he was writing underneath his pen there, which is pretty neat. So we have someone here on the left. Just a letter somebody's writing to one of their family members. And notice, today we would write, dear somebody, and we put comma. Well, here, both of these are dear somebody, exclamation mark, which is really weird. I mean, it's like, like, hey, you, I guess, is sort of like the salutation in this kind of a excitement. And it's interesting how very nicely written the one on the left is. On the other one, it's sort of, kind of blobbier, but you can still see the energy in the dearest general, which it's kind of weird, oh, I'm writing a letter to my general, hey, dear general.
Screaming at your general.
Yeah. It's like, let me yell at you. This is a truly interesting document here. So this is a receipt from the Six Nations to Thomas and Richard Penn, and the Penns and their dealings with the Native Americans were one of the best kind of worked out, things when we have sort of treaties and things going on with Native Americans and the Europeans that come and settle. There's so many. It's like, boy, those poor Native Americans, right? The Penns were actually, those dealings, as far as I know, were some of the very sort of, fairest, let's say that. What we see here, though, down here at the bottom, is the Native Americans, their marks they're like signature, are these little images, little GIF. There's a word I want. It's not GIF, it's something else. But a little glyph, I think, is the word I'm looking for. A little image, sort of like a emoticon for the person, right? And then their name is right beside it. So we can see how they were sort of Native American signatures here in this time. This is 1769. Here we go. Here's a whole collection of letters, and we can just kind of get a real quick glimpse. We even see on that second one on the top that there's some sealing wax left behind on that. But we get a feeling for the different sorts of handwriting. And I don't know, people don't handwrite much anymore. Everybody's using their little, magic phone boxes to interact with each other, or email, or, they print things out with a printer. Some of these writings are just gorgeous. Other times they're just very utilitarian. Some neat.
I think a lot of times now when people do handwrite, it's not for someone else, so it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's just your own notes or journal or whatever.
Right. And obviously they're all cursive, and I don't know that they even teach it anymore today in most schools. It's going to be one of those lost arts. At some point, people will be like, oh, I don't even know how to read these, right? So,
there was a back and forth in the chat earlier about that, and it seems to be a lot about just where you live and what the folks in the area want to happen.
Well, it's bad enough when schools move from printed textbooks to iPads, right? And now, it's like, well, what is cursive? I mean, you don't even have the tools for that. And you're not even using paper and pencils as a tool anymore. You can go back. There we go. Okay. This is a resolution by Congress here, and what we're looking at are the signatures. So we get to see the signatures in Continental Congress and kind of their differences and similarities. I don't know that most people's signatures are that readable today. I know mine. You might have to squint a little to see what's really going on. All those signatures are pretty darn readable. We can again get a guess as to how they're different. There's that one. Second one from the bottom on the left is a real interesting looking. I don't know who that one is, but some fun looking signatures. And on the opposite side here, what is that one? A petition to General Lincoln from diverse country militia on the behalf of people going on. So instead of like congressmen kind of people on the left, we have a bit more like militia officers and people on the right hand. So the handwriting's a little, maybe not quite so good, but still pretty readable. This is a kind of a fair written and then corrections. So we see, it's like, okay, you wrote this out. No. Let's scribble. Write this in instead. Scribble. So we get to see sort of in-place corrections. It was probably, if they had the time, they sent this back to be fair written again with the corrections, or this may have been in a hurry. It's like, well, it's just going to have to stand as it is. Obviously, this is some kind of this certifies that kind of official piece of paperwork. So unless they were in a in a pinch, and sometimes if it's a ship sailing or something, it was like, nope, you're going to have to take it like it is. They would have sent this back, have it rewritten, take another hour, and it'll come back and look pretty. This is, today we think about, putting things together in spreadsheets. Well, these are tables for accounting of clothing delivered to troops. So you'll see a lot of these kind of documents, and it's real common to have this sort of angled, thing going on for the headers of a particular column, and then the columns fill out, and then maybe they add them or not. This one side they didn't need to add the columns, there was only one set of figures, but the other one we can see what's going on there. And we see that they're lining the paper here. They just used their ruler and lined that up. Boy, they did a good job though. Those are really evenly spaced. Looks good. I wish I could do a table that well on paper. We see someone here in this image. We looked at this image before, not usually for the writing that's going on. Again, his writing table, right with the light coming in. And of course, as an artist, we look at this and say, wow, isn't that neat? We get to see the light pouring in from one side and the dark foreground and what's going on with the shadows and everything. We have him probably trimming his quill pen, which is something you're constantly having to repair your pen. We kind of see his writing tools. And the diamond shaped thing there in the image beside the mirror, that's I think it's a 9-man Morris board. It's a gaming board, regardless, and the little pieces are in the bag there. This image is 1784.
Real quick, I'd like to get through some chat.
Yeah, go ahead.
Also, if you guys are interested in cutting a quill pen, we did cover that with Brian Allison in that writing series.
Yes.
So if you just search writing on the YouTube channel, you'll get there. This is Bridget Goddess. John, do you ever use a quill to write letters just for fun?
I wish I had that much time. No, unfortunately I don't do that. I like nice pens that write nicely, but I don't do very much quill pen writing. I don't know if I would be that frustrated, but practice would make perfect, and I should probably do it. Thanks for guilting me into it.
Ostrith the Grim. Good day, sir. My mom used to say my printing, it looked like I wrote it with my feet. So a fair writer would have been handy for me. Heather Moore is in Super Chat. Bought the entire set of writing tools with the DVD and paper, etc. However, what do we dust over the ink like shows we have all seen?
Yeah, that's tricky. So sometimes they would use something like, see, there's two things going on. Sometimes you would shake something onto paper and to do it before you wrote on it, and then there's sort of like the blotting sand that you would do after. And talc, which isn't good for you to breathe, is one of the things you would kind of do after to dry up that ink. I think a lot of times they just, let it dry, give it time to dry. But sand might work. You'd have to try some things, because what they had in the time period and what we have available to us now, that could be tricky.
Mr. Matrix S. There we go. Native Americans created emojis. The things I learned from Townsends. I think they're a little neater than emojis, but they're definitely a picture representing something.
Right, exactly. Right. Are you good?
All right.
Okay, perfect. Before we go further, let's do Patreon and whatnot. Let's get to support people in there. So I wasn't able to do Patreon and all these stuff last week because, well, last week was a weird thing. So this week and last week's brand new Patreon members, so people that are over on Patreon, they help support us with a sort of a monthly, a small monthly sum. Ivana Kissaman MT Woodsman 64, Amber Crystal Daughter, Lawrence O'Rourke, Shauna Armstrong, Veritas Lynn, Amber, I think it's Amber Jones, and Aaron. See, my handwriting's so bad I can't even read it. And there's people that help us out with just sort of a one-shot on PayPal. So Martina Tedders, Christopher Ford, he's in there lots, and Roderick Russell, thank you so much. And brand new Townsends Plus people, if you want to get some special content that we don't necessarily put out on YouTube, check out Townsends Plus. Connor M, Brad S, Michael S, Christopher N, Rick, Giuseppe B, John B, Chris M, Kenneth D, and Caleb C. And wow. Special thanks to Lauren. She sort of went through she went through our collections of different writings. So if you see letters and stuff around here, some of these are like behind the bowl, right behind my head. That's a 18th century letter. Here's an 18th century handwriting here. So different, and sometimes just like fans will write us pieces. I think over there is the episode that we did on, what was that? Those like Pop-Tarts from the 18th century.
Oh, yeah.
So that one was over there. And before I go too much further, where's that letter, Lauren? You wrote it out for me. Where did it go? Uh-oh. I don't know where it is. Okay. Maybe Lauren can help me out with that. I have here a letter that, oh, here it is. It's inside here. Duh. All I had to do was look. This is a letter from about 1930 to 1933. And this is a letter from one of my mother's sisters to the family. And it's just an example of handwriting, that isn't all that much different from what was going on in the 18th century to the 21st century. But it had a really fun section. It's great to look through, old family letters. All these things are kind of lost to us now because we don't do the same thing. But this is one of my mother's sisters writing back to the entire family. This is in the middle of the Great Depression. So this is, I've got it here. Middle of the Great Depression, December 1933. And she's speaking about a holiday meal with the extended family. And she says, we only had roast chicken, oyster dressing, gravy, noodles, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, baked beans, pickled eggs, perfection salad, which I'm not sure what perfection salad is, cranberry salad, cranberry sauce, potato salad, 2 pans of Jell-O with fruit, 2 chocolate pies, 3 pumpkin pies, upside down cake, apple salad, Aunt Edith's cake. I don't know what Aunt Edith's cake was like, but it's special enough to talk about. Celery, pickled beets, candy, piles of whipped cream, cottage cheese, coffee, bread and butter. Nobody got sick after dinner. And we had tangerines, apples, and nuts. So that's the kind of thing you would write to one of your siblings, kind of like, haha, this is what we're eating this Thanksgiving. It was a fun letter. Okay.
This is a chat comment real quick. Is it true that the postmaster read everything before it was sent off to its address?
They were sealed. So, in general, no, I don't think so. No. There may be times that, I think Cresswell talked about, since he was kind of a suspected, and it was right there in the middle of the Revolutionary War, that he figured that people were, reading his correspondence. But generally, I don't think that's going on. Let's jump back into the slides. This is an example of some pen and pencil writing. We don't see pencils a lot. They do occur in the 18th century, but they tend to be one-off pencils, kind of made one at a time. But notice this one on the left, it says, Mr. Wedgwood here at the top. This is something to have to do with, Wedgwood pottery and kind of records or whatnot here. And we see pencil writing down in the bottom part of it. On the other side, we see, again, like blue pencil being used on one side. So it's really interesting little thing. Not a lot of pencil writing do we see. Here is one of the few examples of the pieces we see of blue or kind of purple ink. So yeah, there were different kinds of ink being used in the time period, and this again is lined paper with kind of blue ink going on there. Here we have a painting with a handwriting desk and someone, in art. And then on the other side, we have an example of a writing desk from our time period. And boom, he just moved right on for us. Here is two examples of ship's logs. And this is the log where it's, where you would write down, yes, this, at 2 bells, the wind was from this direction and we were going this many knots and, blah, 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 what's going on. So one side we see it's sort of like a pre-printed form that you would write in. And then if you didn't have one of those, you wrote your own form on the other side. So on the right-hand side, we have sort of an example of somebody doing that by hand. I love this. This apparently is from 1790s. We don't have a ton of folk art, that we see in museums as much.
That's really neat.
I think there'd be a lot of it, but I love this one with the top hat. That's weird early style top hat. We've got the pen, the inkwell, the paper, even a big knife, like a huge knife for sharpening your pen, and then the little tiny people, children playing in the foreground. I love that style.
That's a huge book.
Yeah,
like a really huge
it's like,
book.
Oh,
it dwarfs the top
right. Giant book. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, so. These catch the eye. This is, again, ship's log, but this wonderful ship's log person just had to say, well, you know what? My ship's log's boring, so I'm going to put cool pictures of ships. I'm going to draw pictures of ships in my log, and it's always neat to see someone, even the little kind of, sometimes we see just little scratch marks or little images that put doodles, in the margins of things that people are writing. I love this piece, though. Well, here we go. Again, more ship's log, but we see sort of the contrast and compare. On one side, it's kind of scribbly written and half crossed out, and then on the other side, beautiful, fair written. Everything's, like it was, like someone did it with mechanically. It's so beautiful handwriting. Here is someone writing inside, doing margin notes and corrections in a journal. This is, I believe, French, about 1793. They don't even know who actually was doing the little, making notes in the book. We don't know who necessarily owned it for that, but you can see someone in that time period. Boy, they're just marking up that book. I hope they don't think they're going to resell this one because, I wouldn't buy it. It's all messy. So imagine if paper's really expensive or you don't have much paper and you need 3 sheets and you only have 1 sheet of paper. Well, you write one direction and then you turn the page 90 degrees and you write the other direction and then you turn the page 45 degrees and you write again. That's what they did here. So this is not uncommon at all when you're writing in the 18th century, that if you want to, kind of fill up that page more and you want to, get the biggest bang for your buck for your paper, that you will just rotate, start again, and it isn't that impossible to read. It's pretty neat.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Isn't that cool?
That's a word for it.
There we go. Now, this, we're getting here into Valentine's Day. 1797, and can we read it right? So, the ring is, I don't know. I can't read it. Anyway, yeah, here we go. About 3/4 of the way down. The roses are red, the violets are blue, the pinks are pretty, and so are you. Here we go. We actually have someone who's trying their hand at verse and playing with those lines. And so be you. Sorry, I got it wrong. See, she wrote it over there, and I was supposed to read that one instead of trying to figure out what that said, and I got it all wrong. What's new? What's new? And here is an actual sort of Valentine Puzzle Purse from 1826. So you can see the beautiful little artwork. If only Valentines were this cool and sophisticated nowadays as they were in 1826. Beautiful, beautiful hand-done piece with little art things and nicely written things. And well, I don't know, you probably had to, figure out how to get it open. It was probably one of those complicated, I don't know how it was a puzzle. Probably, it's like, don't rip it. It's going to take you a week to get this thing open, and it's going to be past Valentine's Day. Here we go. Whew, we did it. I had to put on the afterburners there and make it through there, but we did it. We did it.
All right. We've got a few more chats here. Well, actually, I think just one. Nope, two. I lied. I have a problem with that.
Ryan.
Matt Kexey, I think is how you pronounce that. Been watching your channel for a long time. Absolutely love the content. Planning a trip to Pierceton sometime this year.
Oh, there you go. The Mecca.
The metropolis.
It's actually the center of the entire United States. It all. This is like Pierceton is the belly button of.
The lifeblood of the USA.
I'm sorry. I got that wrong.
Okay. Sharpie Hammer. Oh, well, actually, it would be great to see you when you come to Pierceton, by the way. We got carried away there. All right. Sharpie Hammer. Hello, lovely people. First time catching you guys live. Sending love from the Middle East. Love your videos and community. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Another one just popped in. Sir John. This is Sir John.
Sir John.
Yeah. You're John.
He's not here today.
Yeah, right. Sir John. Thank you all at Townsends for your amazing work. How can I find the log you featured with the drawings? I think it was from 1791.
Great question. All the images, especially all the images we've done probably in the past, a couple of months, anything that Lauren does. Any of the time that Lauren does the prep work for a video, you can find all the links and all the images or links to the images and notes about them. There's a link in the description section of the video. It's like the second one down, and it has a link, and it takes you to a page that has PDFs of all the ones. So you just look at the bottom one and you'll find the one on handwriting or writing or whatever it is. She just does a whole bunch of work so that everyone can have access to that. So if you're interested in a particular image you saw, you're trying to track it down, check out the PDF, hit the link in the description section. Good job, Lauren.
Well, I had something, but it fell away. It was just an idea from me, not from somebody else, so it's okay.
It's been, we had, guess what? Coming up, a couple of episodes, Michael Dragoo. So if you're a Michael Dragoo fan, keep your eyes peeled. I'm not sure, that might be a couple weeks into the future. So we got some fun stuff coming up, and we're kind of filling up the hopper now with great videos and having fun, planning for when the weather warms up. And we got some bigger projects kind of working on. Some of them are internal projects. You'll see the results of the projects, but not necessarily the doing of the project. Got some cool tools on order so we can do some great stuff out at the homestead this summer. So we got a lot of work ahead of us.
We had Unpacking the Pantry episode go up on Townsend's Plus this week. Next week, we've got a special episode planned that I'm really excited about. So Townsend's Plus is getting some good content there. Yeah. I think on the channel coming up, Brandon did some horn work again.
Oh yeah, there's another one?
Yeah,
yes.
And then there's some more leather work.
Right.
There's some more cooking. We got a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
We've been shooting a lot of
stuff
videos.
is working, and I've got all the prep work done for the next Diderot's Encyclopedia live stream for Townsends Plus. So watch out for that. And gosh, Ryan, we got to talk about this Benjamin Franklin thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. We were just speaking on that a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
It's still coming. We just want to make sure it's really good. We haven't.
Well, obviously, my weeks have been a little messed up here, really recently, but all that's calming down. So we're going to get back to some of these things that you're like, John, I've read through Benjamin Franklin 3 times now. Are you going to do this live stream? Yes. Maybe we'll try to get that scheduled into next week. We gotta fight out the schedule here to get those things going.
I just had a super chat. I'm not sure it's XIM. I'm not sure Zim Kim. The Despo, I think. And that says not quite the same as letters, but I remember a few years ago when I was working on the University of Idaho's research ranch, where one of the jobs was tearing apart an old granary, and one of the boards had a date on 1895 that my boss wanted frames.
Yeah, about that same time period, this building that we're in was built here in Pierceton, and I think we took some pictures. So they plastered the walls, sort of quick plastered the walls, and then someone came in and did artwork on the walls.
That was really cool.
And then they just wallpapered over it. And as we were taking the wallpaper off, all these pieces of art came in. So there was a primitive wagon and horse up on the wall over there, and on there was somebody with a pipe, and it was crazy. So it's neat to see those things. Even this, where is that? I had a nutmeg grater over here someplace. I don't see it now. The standard one that we have in the catalog. It's a little wooden one with a sliding part on it. And that was based off of a nutmeg grater that someone found that was placed in a barn beam in a pocket. So they had chiseled out a mortar and tenon pocket in the beam. And before they put the beam in, like, this dropped into the hole. And when they took it apart, it's like, what? There's a nutmeg grater inside this barn beam. Pretty cool. You never know what you're going to find in old buildings.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I think we're all caught up here. If you guys, we gotta stop pretty soon. But if you want to throw some likes on this video, it's lagging on likes a little bit, and it helps us out a lot to get 1,000 likes.
Guys, you're lagging.
Maybe I should have said lacking, but yeah.
I don't know what we're gonna do. Anyway. Incredible! We finally got the door unlocked, we got the fire started, we got the beer cleaned up off the floor here, and everybody came in, and it's been a fun live stream. Just a fun topic. We just don't do much handwriting today. I think we need to get back to it. It's good for us. It's good for it's like you learn a lot more by handwriting. It's weird. We miss out with all these.
The old shout out to Nuddle. That just came through.
There we go.
Wow.
Who?
I'm not gonna say it again because I'm scared.
Okay, good. Well, I don't want you to be scared, Ryan. So you're all right. Just calm down. Again, super thanks to all you guys that support us out there. Super chat, and sometimes you're just a member on YouTube. We have people that help us out on Patreon and PayPal, and of course Townsends Plus. Or you go over and you buy merch on the website. All those things make a big difference to what we do here. I wouldn't even say even, especially when people just watch the videos and comment on them on YouTube. That's a massive morale boost. Also, all the people, how they interact on that. I mean, this is totally different than any other sort of platform. It's like television shows, they don't have a way for fans to interact. You can't just like make a comment on a television show or something, right? But here we have that ability, and you're part of that community. So thank you so much for all your amazing support. Thank you, William. Good job on the console. Thank you, Ryan, in question and answer land. Good job. Thank you, Lauren, for putting together all the hard work with this particular presentation. Thank you, guys. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and thanks for watching.